in Laura Ingraham for commentary on that and so much more. Good morning.
Yeah. I want to go back to the stapler. Are you guys trying to make the argument that Fox and Friends is a staple of morning television viewing?
There you go.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. I will staple to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Don't we all sleep when Sean Penn speaks? I mean, Gorbachev needs a pass on that. Or was he trying to get other supermodel names because Russia has among the most beautiful women in the world?
Well, we gave them
so
one supermodel back, Anna Chapman.
She's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
She's off the list. Hey, how about this? Our top story is one thing they're surprisingly not talking about on the Democrat side is how we're going to fix Social Security. And the government came out yesterday and said, yep, it's running out of money faster than we had thought. Social Security disability is going to be out of dough by 2016. And now, Laura, and you're going to tell us a little bit about the Medicare Advantage program, which is very popular. There's an election year trick the administration is about to pull to try to win the election.
Yeah, there are cynical government moves, and then there are the mother of all cynical government moves, and this is in the latter category. So there's this $8 billion fund in the Health and Human Services Department that is supposed to be used for something called demonstration projects. These are experiments that the HHS can embark upon that are supposed to bring more efficiency to healthcare services in the United States. But they're supposed to be true experiments in how to make the system better. Well, the Obama administration is using this money to simply delay what is going to be inevitable under Obamacare, meaning that Medicare Advantage, very popular program, is going to be alive for another year. And under Obamacare, it's going to have its reimbursement slashed. So, in other words, a lot of seniors are going to end up on the traditional old regular government-run Medicare program, which a lot of seniors aren't satisfied with. It doesn't fill in a lot of the gaps in coverage. So it's just a cynical move, and I think it's actually, you could actually make the argument that it's illegal. And we're going to see if the GAO's recommendation that this be investigated by Congress actually happens. It seems to me that this is a complete dereliction of duty.
Because if the money was set aside specifically for experiments,
yes,
this is not an experiment.
No, it's absolutely not. It's a cynical move so that seniors will not know that this is going to kick in with Obamacare as it would normally have done were it not for this HHS $8 billion. Some people are calling it a slush fund.
Many people argue that without Medicare Advantage, it will cost more for seniors to get medical care. But more importantly, they won't be able to get some of the services that they currently can under Medicare Advantage because doctors are not going to take Medicare to begin with.
They can't. Well, they can't, right? Because the reimbursements are already so ridiculously low for so many doctors and so many services that are being provided. And this is just one more anvil on the back of the medical providers in this country. And this is what we warned was going to happen when Obamacare was passed. And now it's all coming into fruition. But they're just trying to push it down the road a little bit more during an election year to get those seniors to vote in Florida and Ohio and Pennsylvania. It's all for the election year.
This concept was brought up to Marco Rubio last night with Sean Hannity. Listen.
Everything is political with this administration. I mean, everything is designed around the elections, and increasingly so you're starting to see that with things like what you're highlighting. And the bigger problem with Medicare is this president doesn't have a plan to save it. And if there was real leadership from the White House, there would be a sense of urgency about saving Medicare. And instead of saving it, they want to play politics with it.
Let's move on to another topic, which is that the Institute of Medicine, speaking of health care, now proposing this 2% tax on people who have health care and nearly all everyday health practices, from going to your doctor to paying for your prescriptions. And I guess the argument being that they believe that they have to tax people 2% to be able to give that money to other people who don't have health care. Is that your understanding of it?
Yeah, it's exactly right. I'm going to talk to Orrin Hatch in a few moments on my radio show, and he's been all over this issue. The Institutes of Medicine gave cover to the Obama administration for much of the debate leading up to the passage of Obamacare. And a lot of politicians, a lot of people have been writing about this, believe that this quote, institute has become wildly political. And for them to come forward and say we need yet another tax, that's on top of all the other surcharges that are already in Obamacare. Remember, there's that 3.8% surcharge that's also going to be levied. So this is another attempt to redistribute the wealth. It's not about making healthcare more efficient. It's not really about preventative services. This is about expanding the pool of money, the pot of money that is necessary in order to provide adequate, quote, coverage to all Americans. And it's just, I mean, we're all being taxed to death. I mean, you add it all up, we're all getting taxed to death, and this is just one more ridiculous burden being put on the American healthcare consumers.
I think the other day when we did this story, we showed a map of the states that actually receive the least amount of public health money, and they had the best health care. You know, so it was like the opposite of what you would expect. The more money you put into it, the worse the health care was.
Yeah, what we need is more market-based reforms, right, that make healthcare more efficient. And this just, again, it just piles on more levies on people who are already feeling the burden of high gas prices, the burden of high food prices, and all the other hidden taxes that are now being levied on services and items that we buy. And I think that the American consumer is at a breaking point. The American family is at a breaking point. And this is just one more way that daily life is going to become ridiculously expensive for most people.
Sure, we have to pass the thing to see what's in it. Oh, yeah. It wasn't going to cost more, and now
not enough
it
money.
does.
And I wonder what it's going to be like to halfway have it. So if the Supreme Court says, no, this doesn't work, what do we do? It's got to be worse than ever because it's going to be in between.
Yeah.
Right, and the 2%, Brian, is then going to go up to 3%, 4%. Then there'll be different levels of income that are going to get taxed at a higher rate. I mean, that's just the beginning, the opening salvo on this. It's going to go way up beyond 2%.
All right. One other thing, right across the street from where you're sitting is the U.S. Supreme Court, and they are going to start to hear oral arguments about the Arizona immigration law. And apparently Chuck Schumer has got this great idea. You know what? If they uphold the Arizona law, we need to come up with our own line in the sand that shows that we are behind the illegals, because
yeah, this is another show vote. You know, it's a show vote approach to legislation. So we have a serious problem in this country with our finances, with our border enforcement, and so their idea in an election year is not to both parties to get together for some compromises or some actual solutions to these problems. Instead, it's the show vote Congress. So they're going to do Buffett rule vote. They're going to do anti-Arizona immigration law vote. They're going to do a vote to keep the rates on youth college loans at a lower rate. These are all show votes. None of this is serious. And I think that people watching Fox and Friends right now should, maybe embark upon their own show vote in November, showing these people what they think about their show votes.
Yeah,
Namely,
but one thing
get serious.
Right, but I'll tell you what, Democrats might be saying, hey, this is working because according to a latest poll out, in Arizona in particular, it's a virtual dead heat. And in a traditional Republican state, it could have a lot to do with this law.
Yeah, well, it might be, and it might have a lot to do with the fact that I think Governor Romney on this particular issue has not articulated, I think, a clear delineation of the way to make sure that small businesses that are Latino-owned can grow and prosper, moving beyond just the immigration argument.
Yeah,
I think there are a lot of factors involved here. I don't think it's just about comprehensive immigration reform. I just don't think that's the case.
Because this vote is obviously to get the Latino vote for the Democrats.
Oh, yeah, it's another check the box, check the box, check the box.
That's what the headline is with it. All right, Laura, we got to wrap it up there. You got a radio
Thanks,
show to
guys.
do, and we got to go to break just for a second. Thank you.
All right, up next on this show, new trouble for the president on his own side of the aisle. Prominent Democrats say they